Hello and welcome back to my cooking videos again. This is Nadine, French Girl Gaming. Tonight we're going to cook a chili con carne and we're also going to make some guacamole. So what we're going to do first, I've got this heating up for the meat, but I'm going to prepare the tomatoes that I'm going to use in the guacamole, and then we're going to set that aside, and then we work on the chili, and then once that's cooking we'll get back to the guac. Okay, so I'm just going to go and wash the tomato and watch. That's all I need to do for start for now. Okay. That's clean. The reason I do this is tomatoes tend to release a fair amount of water. And I don't like my guacamole to be watery, so I tend to prepare the tomatoes ahead and put some salt, and that way a lot of water gets drained out of it, which is quite helpful. So I'm just going to chop them in pieces. Just a rubbish bag. So from the feedback I got from my last video, you guys are asking me to put actual exact proportions for my recipe, so I'm going to start putting that underneath the video rather than just a list of ingredients. I'll be putting a bit more details. Okay, so I'm just going to add salt. With salt I get quite generous, so the purpose of the salt here is to get water out of the tomatoes. So I'm probably putting about a good teaspoon worth. Give it a bit of a stir. And that's the tomatoes that will be going in the guacamole later. So I'll do that. I'll cover it, put it back in the fridge. Now for the chili, we're going to use some what we call minced beef, which is ground beef in the US, and because I like to cook in bulk in order to freeze some or to have leftovers, and also because Mike has got a healthy appetite. So I've got about, in fact, 1 kilo of minced beef here, or ground meat beef. So it's basically 2 pounds worth roughly. So that's that. And then I have 1 chopped onion. Again, it's a typical brown onion that I just chopped. And we're also going to use jalapenos, just 1. We don't do super spicy here, so we'll have that. I've also got a bunch of what we call coriander or cilantro in the US. That's important. And we've also got some chili powder, salt and pepper, olive oil, and that's pretty much it. And later on we'll be putting beans, of course. So I'm just gonna get this ready. I'm gonna get the seeds out. The seeds are really what makes it hot. Put the bag here before rubbish. Like I said, we don't do super hot spicy food here, so if you want it hot and spicy, you can adjust that to your taste, of course. Rinse that off. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut them in slices. I don't know if you can see, I'm basically just slicing finely the green chilies. Now obviously if you like more chilies, you can use different variety of chilies. You can try red ones as well, doesn't have to be green. I'm only putting one in this one, and I'm saving the other jalapeno for the guacamole anyway, so I can smell the spice in this one, so it's going to be more than enough, I think, for us. Okay, let's just put that into this little thing here. That chili is going right up my nose and my throat. And I need to get some garlic as well. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. We'll put some garlic in there. I tend to just remove the skin and then I use a garlic press. I find if I remove the skin I get more out, so it'll be easier on the press, and the press does all the work afterwards. Okay, I think 3 cloves should be enough. 3 cloves of garlic. Okay, so this is being heating up. I'm just going to add some olive oil, about, I don't know, 1 tablespoon worth. That would be more than enough. And I'm going to get those packs of meat ready, so I can add that pretty quick. But I'm going to fry the onion first, so I'm just only getting this ready to go. Right, so I'm putting my onion first. And all I'm doing here is really browning the onion a little bit, just golden color. Okay, it's starting to be ready. So I'm going to add the meat now. At this stage what we're doing is just going to brown the meat, making sure that it's effectively sealed. It's going to take a few minutes to happen. Okay, so now the meat is essentially cooked, so as you can tell it's effectively brown and nice and juicy. What I'm going to do now is add the garlic. Garlic press. Okay. So that's was it 3 cloves of garlic, 2 to 3 cloves of garlic. So if you're using already pre-made chopped garlic from the tube, it'll be about, I don't know, a teaspoon worth, teaspoon and a half. If you like more, you can always put more, but I wouldn't really go too crazy. That's probably about right. And I'm also going to put in my little green chilies here. So that's going pretty well. So what we're going to do soon is we're going to do obviously the tomatoes. So I've got 3 cans of 400 gram tomatoes, so you can go for like the big can plus one small one. If that's not enough, I may add a 4th can, but I'll see how I go. And then I also have tomato paste. You can get those in a tube or in a container like this. Use a container. I'm going to use about half of it. Otherwise, I will use after the tube will be about equivalent of 3 to 4 tablespoons. So I'm just going to get that open. Try not to wear it, just have it ready. And then I get my canned tomatoes. Add this in here. One, 2, there's that. 4, 3, I mean. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to mince the can with a bit of water. That way I don't waste the tomatoes and water. Okay. Now I'm going to add tomato paste. So I was saying about half the container, which is probably a good 2 to 3 tablespoons. Probably 3 tablespoons worth. That's pretty generous quantity. If you have some leftovers, I'll put that in the freezer and then defrost it the following time, and it's fine. Now we get to the stage where we're going to season this and get the flavors happening, because at this stage this is pretty much like a bolognese sauce apart from the chili. I'm using some Mexican chili powder. This one is medium, so I'm a bit wary of it. I'm not going to go too crazy because I don't want to make it too hot. I think I'm going to use about half a teaspoon of chili powder, again because we don't really do super spicy here, but if you like spicy, of course you can just adjust that and make it hotter if you like it that way. The other thing I'm going to do too, because tomatoes are quite acid, I will be adding a little bit of sugar. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. I suggest you taste and figure out if it's to your liking or not before you do that. I'm going to do first some salt and pepper. regular black ground pepper. Then I'm going to do salt. And I'm sure I'll adjust the seasoning a bit further later on. But I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in there. I'm going to put about a couple of teaspoons of sugar just to make sure it's not too acid. So at this stage with the liquid from tomatoes, it's still fairly watery, so it doesn't have to be cooked in a slow cooker. In fact, I normally do this on the stove. So what I'm going to do is going to leave it open like this onto the reduced kind of position to let the liquid reduce a bit, and that gives me time to work on the guacamole separately. But from a taste perspective, I suspect that it's hot enough, spicy enough, and I'll probably we need to add more salt and maybe even a bit more sugar later. But I'm going to let it reduce first, so I'm going to put it onto the reduce option, medium reduce. Let's say 15 minutes, see how that goes. I'll keep an eye on it. Right, so I'm going to clean this up first and then we'll get working on the guacamole. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Now let's get ready to do the actual guacamole. So for that, I have here half a red onion chopped very finely. So, and I used the food processor to do that. It was a lot easier than doing it by hand, but I've done it by hand before. You just got to chop the onion pretty finely to make it nice. Then I have half a red jalapeno, again chopped very finely too. I've got my 2 avocados here, and I'm going to get the tomatoes out of the fridge. Now with the tomatoes earlier on, I chopped them into little squares, little pieces like this, and I salted them to get as much of the liquid out of them, and I'll show you to give you an idea how much liquid there is. Pour it out. Oops, all of that. There's quite a bit of water that's coming out of those tomatoes, and the reason I'm doing this is because I don't want my guacamole to be watery. So the tomatoes are going to be ready. And I'm going to get a couple of lime, which I'm going to squeeze. So what we're going to have in the guac is basically 2 avocados, 1 chopped tomato, half a red onion, half a jalapeno, 1 lime juice. And we'll put some cilantro or fresh coriander. This is one another reason I don't want tomatoes to be watery, because I want to replace the juice with lime juice rather than all of that. nails are more effective than the knife. Okay, let's get the skin off. You can use, of course, a food processor, or you can just use a fork to mash. It's actually quite easy when they're fairly ripe anyway. It's really easy to do. I tend to prefer it with the fork actually, because I don't mind if it's a little bit chunky, other than baby food consistency, which is what you get with the food processor. But it's important you get the consistency of your avocado right before you start adding any other ingredients like the tomatoes or the chili, because you won't be able to mash anything after that. Okay, so that's about what it looks like a nice, good paste. A few little bit chunks here and there, but nothing too serious. And I'm going to put a drop of a little bit of the lime juice now, because the lime juice also stops it from going black. Good stir. If you were to prepare this in advance, my advice would be to just get to this stage, put lemon juice on the top, cling wrap it, put all of this in the fridge and just assemble at the last minute when you're about to serve tomatoes, onion, etc. Although I found it keeps in the fridge quite well. I've had leftover guacamole for a couple of days and it was totally fine. The important thing is just to top it up with lemon juice or lime juice at the top to stop it from going black. So now I'm going to put the red onion, mix that nicely. Chili, chopped jalapeno, just half in all case. If you like spicy, go for it, but I would suggest always to taste your chili before you put it in. Make sure it's not over the top, so you know what to expect, rather than have a nasty surprise. A little bit of ground pepper, salt. I'm going to put the tomatoes when we're about to eat. I'm not going to put them straight away because, again, I'm concerned they might be a little bit watery. So, see, this is the right consistency. I don't want it to go liquid on this. And I know I'm going to be adding some more lemon juice, so I'll taste it. The tomatoes are salty, so when I put them, it should be fine. I can already taste the red onion and the chili in there. So what I'm going to do is cover this, make it nice and smooth on the surface. Show you one in a second. I'm going to make it nice and even. This is how I store the guac. Make sure it doesn't go bad. juice on the surface. Just a little drizzle. So it's nicely covered. So we got a nice little layer of lime juice sitting on the top. That's perfect. Now I can put some clean out. When we're going to be ready to eat, I'll add the tomatoes, give it a good stir, check the seasoning, adjust as needed, and we're good to go. So that's going to go in the fridge now. Okay, so while the avocado chili mix for the guacamole rest, and this is almost actually done. It's reduced quite well. There's still a little bit of water on the surface, which is good. We don't want it totally dried up and we don't want to burn it either. So we've still got a little bit of time. I can turn the heat down. I'll probably give it another 5 minutes on low. But while this is still going, I'm going to prepare, just chop some coriander or cilantro, because we're going to need it for here, but we're also going to need it for the guacamole. So we'll get that ready. I basically just washed it. I'm going to cut off the, see if I just do it by hand. I tend to just do that. Basically pick the leaves. That's essentially what we want. Nice soft bits. I'm going to put that right now here. I'll just save a little bit for the end. Okay, so this is basically the consistency we got now. So it's not too watery at all, but it's got enough moisture. Wash my hands. So from a bean perspective, I tend to use 4 mix bean can and a can of black beans. You can use whatever beans you like, if there are some that you prefer more than others. This is my recipe for a chili. I'm sure it's not necessarily the official one or the most approved one. I think everybody's got their own variations, but that's one that I know works well for us, and it's been pretty well liked. Just get that open really. Okay, so the rice is now cooking for about 12 minutes, which means, hey Siri, set timer to 12 minutes. Yep, doing it. I now have my beans ready. So there was 2 400 cans. One was mixed 4 meat type beans and the other one just black beans. Red kidney beans is the main one that you want to have. I also like black beans, so I'll put them there too. And I'm basically just going to stir that up and just let it warm through. Okay, I'm going to get my guac out of the fridge. This is just the guacamole I made earlier. Give it a good stir because there's lime juice on the surface. Dry the tomatoes a little bit more. A little bit of water, not too much, it's good. Here. cilantro or fresh coriander into this. Check seasoning. Put most of it, I think. So do it all. A bit more salt. Yeah, better. Just turn this down, let it just stay warm. This is pretty much ready. A bit more lime juice. I save some for later because if we have leftovers, which I hope we will, I'll put again another layer of lime juice on the surface and cover it, and it'll stay in the fridge. It'll be great, still good tomorrow. In fact, it may even taste better tomorrow because the flavour's even more developed. But that's the kind of consistency you want. You don't want something too liquid at all. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Put that thing right on. Put that back in the fridge. And as soon as the rice is ready, then I'll be serving up. Well, the rice is cooked, and I've basically transferred the guacamole into a serving dish. I should leave it here because I think it's out of angle it was. And now I'm just gonna put some rice plate and serve that up. And the chili is basically quite reasonable consistency now, so it's good. Mike, dinner's ready? Okay. We have cilantro here. I'll put some here too to look good. So make it both chili con carne with plain rice, guacamole, little sour cream. We're good to go. Bon appetit. Enjoy.